Okay, welcome back everyone to the computer science literacy and knowledge. So we have seen so far the MCQs with respect to the computer science. Now we will discuss about the subject knowledge. So this will be very important for the examinations, and also you should have the knowledge about the computers, different programming languages that are very popular in today's world. So as part of this, we will discuss different uh, concepts of computers, different programming languages. Like we will start with the data structures, with programming in C. Okay. Then we will discuss about design and analysis of algorithms. We'll discuss about DBMS concepts. We'll discuss about the operating system concepts. We'll discuss about the computer network concepts. Then we will discuss about the compiler design concepts. We will discuss about the software engineering and information system. We will discuss about the web technology concepts and few more if there is any necessity. Fine. So we will start discussing about the data structures with programming in C. So as we all know, C is a very popular programming language. It's a high-level programming language. It is one of the foundational programming languages for the students, for the IT engineers, and you can learn other programming languages. Having the knowledge of C is a very good advantage. So we will apply the concepts of C language in data structures. I assume you already have the understanding of the C programming languages. So we will start with programming concepts in C language. C is a high-level language, right? It is a general programming language as well as specific purpose programming language. It was developed at the Bell Laboratory in USA by Dennis Ritchie mainly. So to learn C language, we must first know what are alphabets, numbers, and special symbols used in C language. Then we will see how to use them. Then we will discuss about the variables, keywords. Okay. So to learn any language, we need to understand their building components first. So similarly, to learn any programming language, we will have to first understand the building blocks of that language. So we will first discuss about character set. Characters that can be used to form words, numbers, and expressions depend upon the computer on which the program executes. The characters in C are grouped into different categories. like letters, digits, special characters, white spaces. Now we'll discuss about the C tokens. So tokens are the smallest individual units in C. There are 6 types of tokens. Like we have keywords, we have identifiers, we have constants, we have operators, we have string, we have special symbols. So all these are the tokens, means you can also call them as the building blocks of the C programming language. Not only C programming language, these are in common the building blocks of almost every programming language. Okay. So when you write a C program, you are just using these tokens. For even a simple program to any complex program, we use the tokens. Without tokens, we cannot write a program. Okay. So first, then what is the keyword? So keyword, as the name says, they are very important words. Okay. But in programming language, what is a keyword? Keyword is also known as a reserved word. Okay. So any programming language, all the programming language will have a set of keywords. And what do I mean when I say it's a reserved word? Means let's be specific. We're discussing about the C language. So let's talk with respect to the C programming language only. So C programming language uses few words for its own purpose. These words are not to be used by the developers for their own purpose. Okay. These are the words that the C language uses for its own purpose. That's why we call them as reserved words. Okay. Like while writing a program, we use some keywords. So the keywords have their own meaning. We cannot use them for our purpose in any language or in any program. Okay. So those are known as keywords. You will understand them. I will give you a list of keywords. And whenever I use a keyword, I will remind you that these are not to be used by the developers for their own purpose. Then you will get a clear idea about what is a keyword. Okay. So it's also known as a reserved word. They have their own meaning or purpose. And all keywords are in lowercase. Okay. So the keywords are all in lowercase. And what are the examples of keywords in C? We have void, we have int, we have break, we have continue, we have if, we have else. Okay, we have default, right? Then we have for. Okay. Then we have yeah, there are 30 or 32 keywords in C language. Okay, you can see what are the keywords available in the C programming language. So while is also a keyword, and many more. Okay. So all these have their own meaning and they cannot be used by the developers for any other purpose. And they are always in lowercase. Then what is an identifier? So as the name says, identifiers are the names given to hold certain values in the computer memory. I'm giving you very simple definitions. There can be other definitions of these words, more standard definitions of these words, but to make it simple, I'm giving you simple definitions. So just like our brain remembers many things, similarly, computer memory also remembers many things. We store a lot of information in the computer memory. But when it comes to programming language, we use certain names and we assign certain values and store them in the computer memory. Okay. And there are a lot of identifiers. For example, variables, then function names. Okay. Then constants. All these are nothing but identifiers. Okay. When it comes to object-oriented language, even the class names are also identifiers. So we basically give some names. Okay. If I write A equals 10. So here A is a identifier. To be more specific, A is a name of a variable. Okay, it holds the value 10. We will discuss more about the identifiers. So identifier is basically a name given to hold certain values in the computer memory. Then what is a constant? Fixed values that do not change during the execution of a C program. So constant can be a numeric constant, it can be a character constant, it can be integer constant, floating constant, okay, string constants. So anything that doesn't change during execution is known as a constant. Then we have set of operators. So operators are again very, very important. There are a lot of different types of operators. Okay. We have to do a lot of arithmetic operations. We have to do a lot of comparison operators. We have to do a lot of logical operators, binary operations. Okay. So we have to do a lot of operations while writing programs. So we will use these operators. Okay. So just for now, I will give you few types of operators. For example, arithmetic operators. These are type of operators. Okay. Under arithmetic operators, we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus. Okay. And we have comparison operators that compares the values. So we have greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to. Okay, all these are comparison operators, or we can also call them relational operators. Then we have equality operators. Equality operators are like double equals, not equals. Okay. These equality operators can also be written as comparison operators, but we can make them as separate operators also. Then we have assignment operators, which is just a single equal to. Okay, so here we have used an assignment operator, right? It assigns 10 to the identifier A. So it's an assignment operator. So like this, we have different types of operators in C programming language. Then we have string. String is nothing but an array of characters. Okay. Or simply I can write it's a sequence of characters. And we have some special symbols which we will discuss. So, special symbols like comma. Comma is a separation operator. Then we have dot, which is a how you access. Okay, so dot is commonly called as access operator. Okay. Now we will talk about variable. So as I told you earlier, variable is a type of identifier. Okay, it's a name that holds a value. So we will discuss about variable now. So it is used to store data value. It is a data name that may take different values at different times during execution. So when you assign a value to a variable initially, it will have some value, right? But it can change. You can change it if there is any need or necessity or any operation. The value of this variable will change. That's why it's known as a variable. Okay, it does not hold a fixed value. You operate on that variable, and if the value has to change, it will change. Okay. So here I have stored a equals 10. Now I can make it 20 also. So 10 becomes 20. So variable value can change. Now, there are certain rules to create a variable. Means there are certain rules to create a variable name. Variable is nothing but a name, right? So you cannot just write any name. There are certain rules in C programming language to create a variable. Now, for example, I will write two columns, valid variable and invalid variable. So valid variable can be marks, okay. It can be total marks, okay. It can be area of triangle, okay. It can be like this, okay? But what are the invalid variable names? You cannot start a variable with a number. So if I write 1 mark, it's invalid because it starts with the digit 1. Okay, you can write mark 1. But not 1 mark. So it cannot start with a digit. Then you cannot write total hyphen marks. So some special symbols are not allowed to create a variable. The only special symbol that is allowed is underscore. So here we have used underscore. So you cannot write, you cannot use hyphen. You can see on your keyboard the special symbols like not, okay, then at the rate, then hash, dollar, percentage, ampersand, star, brackets. All these are the special symbols. So special symbols are not allowed to create a variable, okay? They should not appear anywhere in the variable, okay? So the only special symbol that is allowed is underscore, okay? So these things you need to remember. And you cannot use a keyword. Like I have shown you a list of keyword. So for example, break is a keyword, right? So you cannot use a keyword in the variable names. So all these are the different rules to be followed while creating a variable. Then so C is case sensitive. So it is a very important meaning to say. C language is case sensitive. Almost all the programming languages are case sensitive. Few are not, but most of the languages are case sensitive. And C is a case sensitive language. For example, at the beginning, you have written a variable called marks. You can observe here, right? M is capital, all are in lowercase letters. So if you have created a variable at the beginning, so this will be stored in the memory as a name, as a variable. Later, you cannot use a different name for this. You cannot use marks because M is small here. So the memory identifies the uppercase letters and lowercase letters differently. Okay, you'll get an error if you write the different names. So these are treated as totally different names. Okay, so the computer memory identifies only this variable, not this. Okay, you need to understand this, that C is a case sensitive language. Now we will discuss about data types. So what is a data type? As the name say, these are the types of data. These are the types of data. You will use data many times in a program. The data will be of different types. So numbers are different types of data. The strings are different types of data. Okay. Characters are different types of data. Okay. So all these are different types of data. And in C, let's understand what are the different data types. We have, very importantly, built-in data types in C programming languages. Like we have integer, character, floating, then we have double, okay? And we have some user-defined data types like array, string, structure, okay? These are the data types. For example, if I write capital A, so what type do you call it as? Can you call it as a integer? No, it's a character. If I write 300, what is it? It's an integer, okay? If I write 300.9, it's a floating data type because it has a decimal point. Double means it's a large floating type value, okay? For example, this, you can call it as a double, means it's a large floating type value. We will see how many, we will see how what is the capacity of memory to hold an integer, okay? What is the capacity of a memory to hold a character? What's the capacity of a memory to hold a floating number, to hold a double value, okay? So computer memory has its own capacity to hold the numbers. You cannot exceed that, okay? So these are the different data types. So let's discuss what is the range of values of the different data types a computer memory can hold, okay? Different types of different data types and their range to be assigned, okay? So it's nothing but how much, how big value a memory can hold for a particular data type, okay? So I will make the columns like data type, then size in bytes, then range of values. Now, for the integer data type, we write int, okay? Int is a keyword again, okay? So did I write it in the at the beginning? Yeah, you can see I've written int. So int is a keyword. So to denote an integer data type, we use int. Integer is always 2 bytes, okay? And what is the range of value that we can store for an integer in the computer memory? The range is minus 32,768 to 32,767. Okay, this is a plus positive value. So this is the range of a integer that can be stored in memory. For example, to make you understand better, I will write like this: int a equals 5,000. So here, as you can see, a is a variable identifier. of type integer, means A can hold an integer value. So I have assigned an integer value 5,000. So this is a valid range. It falls in this range. So you can easily store 5,000 in the memory. I can also write A equals minus 5,000. This is also a valid value, but I cannot store 50,000 because 50,000 does not fall in this range. So you cannot store 50,000 to A. You cannot either store minus 50,000 because it does not fall in this range. So this is how the memory can hold certain range of values. So here int, as I've shown you, it can store both positive and negative integers. It is also known as signed int. Okay, so signed int, it's the same thing, that is 2 bytes, the same range. But we can also make something as unsigned int, means it can store only positive values. It is also of 2 bytes, but the range will be from 0 to 65535. Okay. So if you make something as unsigned int, for example, you will declare like this, unsigned int. So when I write unsigned int, it means it cannot store the negative values. It can store only positive values. So I will write A equals 50,000. So this is valid now because it falls in this range. Okay. So to store a value like 50,000 as an integer, you can make it as unsigned int. Then we have something as long int, which is of 4 bytes. To store a really large integer value, you can make it as a long int. Okay, so it practically does not have any limitation. I mean, it has limitation, but you don't have to worry because it's a long int. It can store a really big number. You can assign practically a large value to the long int data type. Okay. Then we have float data type, which has a decimal point. So this size will be again 4 bytes. It can store the value minus 3.4 to the power 48 to plus 3.4 to the power 48. You can see this is the range for the floating data type. Then we have double. As I told you, it's a large floating value. So again, it can store practically a very large size of a decimal number. Okay. Like it is somewhere around one minus the size is 8 bytes. It is minus 1.7 to the power 308 to plus 1.7 to the power 308. This is a range. Then character. Character is very small. It is only of 1 byte. And it can store minus 128 to plus 128. 127. Because it includes 0 also. But you can ask me, right? Character means character like A, B, C, like that. So when you store something, it will be stored as a number only. We will discuss it with an example later, but for now, the character data type is of 1 byte and the range is -128 to +127. Every character has a value in the computer memory. Okay. Similarly, here we have unsigned character, which is again of 1 byte. So this is 0 to 255. So this is very important thing to understand and remember in C programming language.